Welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs, our podcast. This is Dan and Andy. Today is September 11th, 2021. We're going to be talking about some sports, some music. We'll have a trivia question. NFL football kicked off. And we got a good show. What's going on today, Andy?
Not too much. Pretty laid-back weekend. Recovering still from last weekend's tournament.
I did. I got a cap. Picked up the cap to support the local baseball tournament. So that was some of the best baseball games I've seen ever.
Now, where are the games at next year?
Dundas and Faribault.
Okay.
And then they've got sites, I think, for the year after that already as well. And so Dundas and Faribault for next year, state tournament, amateur baseball. Fun stuff. Good baseball. The weather was perfect. It's
oh yeah, you couldn't draw it up any better.
Awesome. So we're in season 2, episode number 42 today, and I'll get started with the trivia question. How about?
Go ahead. Yeah, what do you have for trivia?
So Thursday night this week, NFL kicked off its season, and they've been doing this now since 2002, opening up the season on a Thursday night, kind of a featured game night, big audience, and so they've been doing that. This is the 20th year they've done this, opened up on a Thursday night. They're calling it a kickoff weekend, and they usually have a show or a concert or a live act or something before. But in the 20 years they've been doing it, they get pretty high television ratings for viewership. The question for today's trivia question is, what was the most watched game of those 20 years? They do one game Thursday night before us. It's after Labor Day. After Labor Day, Monday, there's always that first kickoff game. They also feature the reigning Super Bowl champion, usually hosts it.
Yep.
Plays at home. So 20 years they've been doing this. What was the most watched game is the question. As far as viewership, TV ratings in that 20 years, what was the most watched game? A hint, it was not Thursday night's game. It was up there. A lot of viewers for that Buccaneers Cowboys game. But the question for today's trivia is, what is the most watched of all time in those 20 years?
All right.
That's what I've got, sir.
We shall see. All right. We'll get into the fun here of all this business. Do my bit here. Close this button here. Oh, skip that. I want to do this button. Yeah.
There we go.
Still waking up. Sorry. Still waking up a little bit. Sorry about that. So here we go. High school football, we'll start with that. They're underway week 2. We'll cut it down to some standings and some results from our local teams and our alma maters here. Watertown Mayor. Now, this is off the Star Tribune site, which kind of, maybe I'm saying this because it affects Watertown Mayor, but them and Litchfield are both 1-0, but they list Litchfield first because it's alphabetically, but you look at the overall record, Watertown does have the better record. But they list it by conference, so it is what it is. We'll see Thanksgiving weekend who's where.
Oh, yes.
Watertown did win last night, 24-21 over on the new field here, over Newland and Spicer. Next week, Albany on tap for us. Minnetonka improved to 2-0, still first place in the Metro Gold North. With their win over Blaine, 28-3. Maple Grove next on the schedule, so that should be a good game there, Tonka and Grove. Mid-Southeast Red, Mayor Lutheran 1-1, being our local team. We're following there. Their win over New Richland the other day, 33-12. St. Clair next on the schedule for them next Saturday afternoon. South Central Red, take a screenshot of that. Jordan's in first place.
Nice.
Sorry, too soon?
Too soon.
But too soon. They did win over Worthington 41-14. So there's that. Jordan at New Ulm next week. Waconia 1-1 on the year. Chaska's had 2 conference games already. Waconia hasn't. And they're a little 4-man suburban white conference. There was the score for Waconia. There was nothing listed for them. It didn't have a final posted, so I don't have the official numbers for the Waconia game. College football. We'll start with the Big Ten standings here. Michigan State, Ohio State, the states leading in conference play 1-0. Maryland, Michigan, and Rutgers also won, and Indiana was the loser in that conference for their overall records. Then the West, it's Illinois, Iowa on the top there, Purdue without a conference game yet, and the rest without the win. Nebraska does have one win. That was a non-conference game last week. Overall, NCAA top 10. Bama still number 1. Georgia moves up from 5 to 2. Ohio State moves up. Oklahoma drops, which is kind of weird. Year 2, you win and you drop. Texas A&M, Clemson drops from 3 to 6. There's Iowa moves up from 18 to 10. FCS, here's the top 10. Again, the Bison win but drop. It has a lot to do with who you play too. So we all know how that goes. Montana moved up to 9. It's the Bison and Delaware drop. Eastern Washington, welcome to the top 10.
I would watch South Dakota State. Keep an eye on them. Boy,
Yep.
they're tough.
Yep. The top 7 here are really kind of interchangeable to me. They'll all be right there at the end. Here is the Valley Conference that the Bison are in. Their standings, of course, no conference games yet, just some overall records for everybody there. The Sioux have 2 games played, so they're listed first because of total points for. But then you got Illinois State, Southern Illinois, Youngstown, the Bunnies, the Bison. So there's all the teams to listen for in the Valley Conference.
Now, I've got a question, Andy.
Yes.
Yep. Because you're covering the football sports, should we do a little blurb on St. Thomas this year? Moved up to D1. Not only football, every sport they moved up to D1. It should
Hockey.
be interesting to watch how those guys do.
Yep.
Maybe
I was looking for them the other day, what their conference they're in. I did not get them in this week's report. The Tommies are moved up. I got them listed in our hockey stuff, but I have not moved them up from football yet because I forgot.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to
I
follow.
was focused on the hockey part too much. Now, did they move up for basketball too? I didn't look for that.
Well, everything, I think.
Okay, so the Bison play. I'm sorry. The Bison are for hockey. Play with the big boys. The Bemidji State's Division III for football, but they play with the big boys for hockey. Hockey's kind of that other animal, but I'll check the other sports too.
Okay.
Like I know the Bison, they could be in the NCAA tournament for basketball for March Madness. Football, they're Division II. But we'll see. I'll put some of my crack staff on that.
Yes, maybe an intern.
Intern Steve will get on that right away. Division II, off the D2 football site. Here's their top 25 or top 4 anyway. I'm not going to list all of them, or top 5. Sorry. West Florida, Ferris State, Minnesota State, Northwest Missouri, and Texas A&M Commerce. They're your top 5. And the NCIS, where the Beavs are, they are 1-0. They play today. And those are some other schools in the conference. Just to list to if you're in the area, go check them out. Duluth, Minnesota State, Mankato, Moorhead, Wayne State, Nebraska. There's Concordia, St. Paul, Sioux Falls, Southwest Minnesota. D3 football. There's St. John's at number 6. And Mount Union and Whitewater are usually up there a lot. So always kind of watch for those teams. They're 2 really good teams to keep an eye on. Goldie and the Gophers. Let's go over some Gopher stuff here. Women's volleyball. Here's, for all of you who are on our Facebook page, see I put all the volleyball stuff up. Here's the results so far this year. Okay, they lost to number 10 Baylor, then they beat TCU. Lost to number 1 Texas, lost to number 5 Florida, and then beat Stanford, who's number 14, and today number 11 Oregon. So with the exception of TCU, they're in the deep end head first. I think they're 13th ranked overall, so they're, I hate to say losing the teams you should lose to. You shouldn't lose to anybody, but you're losing to the higher ranked teams. That's honorable. That's okay. You shouldn't lose to anyone below you, and you it's okay to lose those above you. But the Gopher women volleyball, strong, fun. If you like women's volleyball, fun team to watch. Women's soccer, they're 3-0-3, and here's their results so far for the year. Baylor beat them. Double overtime against Illinois Chicago, ended in a tie. Drake, they won, and again, tie, 0-0. If you look at the numbers here, women's soccer, it's on the Facebook page. Look how many goals they've given up in their games this year in 6 games. None.
That is tremendous.
Don't see that. And that's including 3 double overtime games. So there you go. Here's the rest of the sports schedule for those on campus. Today, Miami of Ohio for football, inter-squad baseball game at Siebert, and again, the volleyball we covered earlier. Again, if you don't want to watch these because you're out and about, you can get them. Go to gophersports.com. You can get the live audio on the websites for those games. Sunday, you got golf and soccer against North Dakota. Golf all during the middle of the week there, as you see Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at Lake Elmo and Windsong Farm for the Gopher Invitational. And Independence, Minnesota. That's out this direction. Thursday is the inter-squad baseball game at Target Field for the Gophers, and volleyball against St. Thomas, the Diet Coke Classic, and baseball against St. Thomas at Siebert on Friday night. The Bison, women's volleyball and football today. The women's volleyball are in the middle of the Cal tournament. You see the results there so far. Yes, I went to the public school, but I could figure it out. If you're in a tournament, you've won the first 2 and you're in the 3rd game, I'm guessing that's the championship game. Just call it a hunch. But so Bison volleyball there. Again, go to the Bison Sports website. You can listen to that game there. Or if you got ESPN Plus or you're in North Dakota on ABC, you can watch the games there or get live video and audio off the sites also. Other Bison sports, again, golf throughout the week. The women at South Dakota and the men in Manhattan, Kansas. Friday, soccer in Milwaukee for the women and the volleyball in Portland. Now we go to the Beavs. Here's our schedule. Friday, they got Wayne State today at 2 o'clock, volleyball Northern Michigan and Cedarville, and then the baseball golf outing today. Rest of the week, they got soccer and golf midweek, soccer Northern Michigan on the 12th. And next weekend, volleyball, Southwest Minnesota State and Sioux Falls, and women's soccer at Northern State, and football next Saturday against number 3 Minnesota State at Minnesota State for the Beavs. So Wayne State today and at Minnesota State next week. Couple tough games for the Beavers. See how they do. Canadian Football League, our friends in Canada. Here's the schedule so far this week. Last night's game, Toronto Argonauts over Hamilton, the Tiger Cats, 17-16. Today's game, Saskatchewan at Winnipeg. That should be a good game. People are picking Winnipeg to win that mostly. They're at home and they are the better team. Then tonight's game, Calgary and Edmonton. And also a late tonight game, 3 games today, Ottawa and BC. Standings are, there's Winnipeg 4-1, Saskatchewan 3-1, Edmonton and BC at 2-2, and Calgary at 1-4. Other division, Toronto 3-2, Montreal, the Alouettes 2-2, Hamilton 2-3, and Ottawa 1-3. All right, we try not to mix in politics into the show, but just updates to let you know how life is going with the Kraken. They have asked for all people at Kraken games proof of vaccination required. Their press release has the 7th. In compliance with the mandate with Washington State, so it's more the state telling them to do this, not the team or the NHL. It's a state deal. Climate Pledge Arena and the Kraken announced that all guests 12 and under, blah, 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 blah. We've all heard the speech before. I did not see anything on the Minnesota Wild page about this, though. So I don't know if the Wild have announced anything, and it was so long ago it's not on there anymore. I didn't see anything on XL Energy's page. Again, I'm just going to say it. Seattle's a very democratic state, and so is Minnesota. So I wouldn't be surprised if we went this route soon. But It will be fun. If it's said, we'll put it on Facebook if they change it. But for those of you in Seattle going to the Kraken game, have your little vaccination card and your mask to go enjoy hockey. If not, do what poor folk like me do and watch it on TV. Minor League Baseball. AAA winding up their season. East, Central, and South. So here we go. Northeast. Kind of like the big leagues in a way. Toronto, New York, and Boston affiliates in the top three. Philadelphia, Washington, the Mets in the bottom. Kind of like real baseball. Buffalo, a 12-game winning streak. Suppose once they got the major league team out of there, they got their own stadium back. They started. They've been doing well all year, but really started pouring it on. And Rochester, Washington's AAA team on a 10-game losing streak. So congratulations on that. Southeast Division, Tampa Bay's team, Durham, 70-41, just crushing. But Atlanta and Miami doing well also. So see how those go. Milwaukee's team's kind of sitting in the middle of the pack. They're 60-52, but you're 10.5 out. So that would be tough for them there as they try to maintain in the major leagues. But Tampa doing good in the pros, doing good in the minors in AAA. And in the Midwest, there the Saints have dropped the third 8 games out, 2 games above 500. Kansas City there and Toledo, the Mud.
I've got one note here, Andy.
Yes.
Toledo leading the division. The Toledo Mud Hens, they've got a starter. Logan Shore, Coon Rapids native, is now 8-2 with Toledo, doing very well. Started the year with an injury, had a bunch of time off, but a nice back, pitching full games. So they had him on a kind of a pitch count earlier, but Coon Rapids native went to Florida Gators. Was a Florida and pitched there, and is out now with the Detroit Tigers organization playing for Toledo. Toledo's a very good team. In fact,
Yes.
when they played the Saints, did they sweep all 6 games?
Yes.
So that goes to show you they're going to be tough. But that's all I've got for minor league baseball.
And if you know your TV entertainment history, Klinger always had a Toledo Mud Hens jersey on match.
Yes, yes.
And weren't the Toledo Mud Hens at one time a Twins affiliate?
Yes.
I think back around that time, that's why it's kind of I always remember that.
So I've got another question. Usually you'll see Major League Baseball here. We roll into Labor Day, and then we start getting the call-ups, the minor league call-ups. Well, the minors are still playing, and how many weeks do they have left?
There's playoffs starting in a couple weeks here, but remember they started the season late too.
That's right. So they have a couple weeks to go yet.
That's their playoffs for the top teams, yeah. But
so
like I said, if you look at the standings, go ahead.
Those of you looking for the call-ups, I'm not sure if that'll be that big of an impact this year, or maybe just a couple guys. Maybe they'll bring up, but the AAA is still playing. All the minor leagues are still playing baseball right now, and it says September 11th, so it'll be a little different.
If you look at a lot of top teams in AAA, the top teams in the majors also.
Yep.
Okay, bad example here. Let me go back. Tampa, Atlanta, their teams are battling. You don't want to take, and so is your minor league team, so you don't want to take from them. Go back here, Toronto, New York, Boston. If those teams are in a playoff race, you don't want to take from them. So that would be the reason that the Saints, okay, you're out of it. The Twins are out of it. Now you start calling guys up, which the Twins have done. They've put a couple of pitchers down on injury for the year because we're not mathematically out yet. We'll cover that in a minute, but you're out of it. Okay, let's see what the other guys can do. And you're going to see a lot of that. Speaking of majors, we'll go to the Mets here first. The video will be shared later on Facebook. In last night's game, the few times in 30 years, the Mets successfully bases loaded bunt. Well, it wasn't a squeeze play. It was a bunt for a base hit. We'll see it on Facebook later. If you want, go to the Mets website. You'll see it there. For those who like fundamental baseball, it was perfect. We saw the video earlier. The way they pulled it off. Left-handed pitcher, so he's falling off towards first base. Left-handed batter. It wasn't a drag bunt. Right up between the pitcher and the first baseman. Hit hard enough where the first baseman couldn't charge it, but also hit hard enough where it didn't get to him right away either. Just trickle pass pitcher. It's the way you teach it, the way you see it done. Now, you won't see it again for a long time, but we'll have that video up later. Pete Alonso of the Mets, 100 career home runs for the Polar Bear. It's pretty incredible feat. He had 50 a couple years ago. They had the shortened season last year. 100 home runs already for Pete. Not the fastest ever. Ryan Howard did it 325 games back in the early 2000s. But he only ended up his career with 382. It was like right after this, Ryan Howard just kind of like fell off the face of the earth almost. He just was an injury or something. He just all of a sudden stopped. Pete Alonso, though, in 347 has hit 100. Hopefully he doesn't stop and he keeps going. But he did get the rookie record back in 19 with 53 home runs. So it's another 47 in a year and a half. Last year was 60 games, so a year and a third. So congratulations to the Polar Bear. Here's to 100 more, as we like to say. The Twins, like we covered earlier, said they've been changing a lot of pitchers, but here, young Joe Ryan, not your average Joe, as they say on the Twins site. A little bit of salad for him there. He pitched his first career win by retiring the first 19 Cleveland, I better get used to it, Gladiators for next year. Here's he faced, allowing just one hit, a single, and 7 scoreless frames to helm a shutout at Progressive Field. He's the first pitcher in AL history to throw at least 7 shutout innings while allowing no more than 1 base runner among his first 2 career starts. According to the Ohio Sports Bureau, my heroes. He's the first Twins pitcher to retire the first 19 batters since Liriano, June of 2011. Major League Baseball, standings, here we go. Tampa Bay, 9 games up. Baltimore officially eliminated. And there's the other numbers are 9, 10, and 10.5 out of the race. Central, White Sox have an 11-game lead. A Twins magic number to be eliminated is 3. Should be by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. They should be eliminated. Kansas City early in the week should be eliminated. Won't be surprised if Detroit was this week too. You're going to start seeing them drop off now. Like I said, season's coming to an end. National League West. Texas is eliminated. Angels 9 for magic number 13.5 out. And Seattle, Oakland, their elimination, 5.5 out, but they both have 1 game back in the wild card. So we'll see those standings a little bit here too. Seattle's has been hot lately in the last 6 weeks. So just keep an eye on them. They've been playing really good. They've been playing the right teams you got to jump over. So National League East, Mets are a half game behind Philadelphia. Yes, I want the Mets to win the division. But more importantly, they need to be ahead of Philadelphia. That's first priority. Be 4th for all I care, as long as Philadelphia is 5th. The Mets need to finish ahead of Philadelphia for me to be happy, or it could be a long winter. Mets, with their win last night, are at 500, 5 games out of first, 4 back in the wild card. Miami and Washington probably by next week at this time should be eliminated. In the Central, Milwaukee, just give it to them now. 9 for a magic number to eliminate Cincinnati, whatever. Milwaukee's just on a roll. Cincinnati's doing good. They got the wild card spot, but you're not going to catch it. Cubs and Pirates eliminated. I think the Pirates are already eliminated for next year too, if I recall seeing that stat. St. Louis is still St. Louis. That organization, you never count them out till they are eliminated. 15 back, 7 for elimination number, 3 back in the wild card. In the West, the Dodgers, 14-game lead for the wild card. Holy cow. San Diego, Colorado, and Arizona again eliminated already. Padres have that other wild card spot. Like we see here in American League, half game back for Toronto in the wild card, and Oakland, Seattle 1 back. So the division races are fun to watch. Like I said, Boston, New York, Toronto are tight. Throwing Oakland, Seattle for the wild card there. This is why I'm kind of happy for the wild card. Gives you a reason to still watch. National League. Dodgers have that 14-game lead in the wild card. St. Louis 3 out. Philadelphia 3.5, and the Mets 4. Do the Mets have a logical chance in the wild card? Am I just putting it up here because I'm a Mets homer? Yes, but also look at their schedule. They have the Yankees this weekend, home against the Cardinals, which will be tough games, but you're at home. Home against Philadelphia. Now, okay, they got 2 at Boston and 3 at Milwaukee. right towards the end of the year there, is Milwaukee going to be resting guys? Is that going to really be 3 hard games at Milwaukee? Boston, you get a split. Life is good. You got 4 at home against Miami. Here it is. The last 3 are at Atlanta. So there's still saying there's a chance. Look at the schedule, who's there. Outside chance, but a chance. Like I said here, they could play well at home. Take 2 from 3 from the Yankees, 2 from 3 from St. Louis, and sweep Philadelphia. 7-2 on that stand, that'd be awesome. Play above 500, those 5 on the road, sweep the Marlins, and you got 3 exciting games right here in October. NASCAR has their race tonight under the lights. Race 2 of the first segment of the 16 for the tournament, the 400 at Richmond. It's 300 miles, 400 laps. So, which leads me to my soapbox. If you look back, the race tonight is on NBC-SN. And NASCAR they spend the money for this contract and they throw all the games on the cable networks for NBC and Fox on SN and FS1. Yeah, people will get these channels. They're the regular channels, but it's channels 70 and 71 or something like that on your cable guide. Who goes past 40 on their channels sometimes if you don't flip to them? So you pay this money for a sport, then you bury it. And then watch tonight. What else are they going to be showing? I don't know. Reruns of something. Why not put it on a Saturday night prime time? I don't. Maybe NBC has Notre Dame football or something like that. Throw Notre Dame on your cable channel so your cable channel gets some love and respect. Notre Dame gets all the ratings. Put them on that channel so people look for your channel. They find it and they'll go from there. NASCAR paid $4.4 billion 10-year contract back in 2013. 10 days later, they did their contract with Fox to extend to $1.4 billion through the 2024 season. In comparison, as of March 19th, 2021, NFL announced a new 11-year deal with its television partners, so that'd be everybody, the Associated Press, for $113 billion, which runs through the 2033 season. Now, they say television partners, so that's ESPN, Fox, NBC. That's all of them together chipped in $113 billion for the NFL. NBA is looking for $75 billion coming up. Now, Major League Baseball with Disney and ESPN agreed to a 7-year deal. This is back in May for $550 million a year. Now, baseball may seem low, but you got the new Bally Sports here. You got Comcast Sports locally for baseball. There's so many local cable deals that have chimed in too. This is just what ESPN is paying. Bally Sports North here, I don't know what they pay for that contract for the Twins all the time. So baseball is kind of a different animal when you look at these contract numbers like this. Oh, football is $113 billion, basketball $75 billion. Why is baseball only $550 million? Okay, first of all, those are $75 billion over 8 years, or over a handful of years there. Football's is $113 billion over 11 years. So yeah, it's still $10 billion a year, but still $10 billion compared to $5.5 million for baseball. Baseball's got those local deals in there, which I'm sure up that number. And also, if basketball went back to that, we have more local games. Yeah, we get the Timberwolves on the local stuff. I don't know if that's considered in that NBA deal. That number's in there. The baseball number is just the one I found for ESPN, not baseball altogether. So that $75 billion for NBA, that's not just from TNT and ESPN. I mean, it is all right for $8 billion for those guys. That's throwing in the other money from the local deals. Footballs is all the others. NBC Sports and Fox, you're paying $4.4 billion for 10 years. So that's $400 million a year to bury it on your second rate, or not second, your tier 2 sports only channel. Now, NBCSN does have some nice pre-race coverage on it and after-race coverage, but throw the race up on the big channel. You want fans, that's how you get them. XL Energy Center, like I said, we did not see anything about masks listed there earlier, but here's events coming up. Guns N' Roses concert Tuesday, September 21st. I know Dan's excited about this next one, the reschedule the Harry Styles concert, September 22nd. The Eagles have rescheduled for October 1st and 2nd. There's the 3rd. The Tommies playing St. Cloud State hockey at the X. And October 4th, preseason, the Lanch, as some people call them, against the Minnesota Wild. Center Day Target, as they say in Canada, the French, but Target Center, we call it. Sunday, Lynx and the Indiana Fever for the WNBA. Job fair on Thursday, Shinedown concert Friday. Next Tuesday, another job fair at Target Center. Then a rescheduled concert next 25th, Dan Love Shea, their arena tour. Our friends at Medina, home of Robert's Bar and Restaurant. Sundays, they have the Hamel Lions Flea Market Sundays out there. Saturday, they have dance lessons. I'm sorry, not Saturday. Tuesdays is dance lessons. Thursday, they have the free concert on the patio, Shayla Lee Band, this Thursday. Next Thursday is the Michael Paul Duo. And if you want, when you're there, you get Psychic Ruth to do a reading for you. Next Friday is the Hype concert with Heartless opening up, and the Funky Brew Medina Beer Festival next Saturday. Friday the 24th, Beatles versus Stones. That's a tribute concert. That's a reschedule from earlier this year, I believe, too. So that's my bits there, sir. Like I said, Canadian football, I saw that COVID game. They took it off the schedule. I have not had time to research yet. I just saw it as I was putting up today. I was looking back for it. If they rescheduled it, if it was a 1-0 game, I didn't see anything on their website yet. Then again, it might have been a late yesterday decision because a lot of the football scores weren't updated yet either for high school. Us doing the early morning show today. But so that's that. High school football, like we've said before, we cover our alma maters and our local teams. If you want to hear your local high school team out there, drop us a note on the Twitter or the Facebook and let us know. We'll mention your high school every week. We got no problem with that. And follow other teams besides that. Or if your son or grandson or daughter is playing in a volleyball or soccer or football and you want us to follow them and drop their name, fine. We'll do that. Not a problem. But that's what I got, sir. Any more notes for you? Oh, one other thing I forgot. I was watching the Mets game the other day on SNY, on Major League Baseball Network. Brad Hand came in to pitch. The Mets announcers referred to him as the pride of Chaska, Minnesota.
Nice.
So Chaska getting a shout, and he pronounced it Chaska. He pronounced it correctly.
He did.
The pride of Chaska. So I kind of puffed up a little bit there when I heard that. So Brad Hand doing well with the Mets, doing what he's supposed to do, middle relief work. 4 games, 2 holds. Hasn't blown anything yet. Doing what they're paying him to do. That's what I got, sir. How about yourself?
Which is good. You know, he went to Toronto in the trade deadline, and they were in the thick of the hunt. And then he blew a bunch of games there. They released him and designated for assignment. And then the Mets picked him up. But now, since cutting Brad Hand loose, Blue Jays 8-2 in the last 10 games. They're back now being competitive, and that just didn't work out.
And I'm not criticizing Brad Hand when I'm saying this, but you're Toronto, you're in the pennant race. You don't have time to see what's going to happen. If you're not working,
there's no time to wait around. So they had to cut bait.
Bad week. Sorry, we ain't got time. Go. Yep.
Maybe better served as a middle or late reliever, but boy, the closer role didn't go too well for him.
And Rich Hill, former Twin, doing well with the Mets right now too. So yes, like I said, look at the Mets schedule. I'm holding out hope.
Could be interesting. Now the trivia question we had at the beginning of the show. We covered the trivia question. The trivia question is: the NFL season has started. Over the last 20 years, they begin their season every year on a Thursday night national televised football game. So they've been doing this for 20 years. The question was, what was the most watched game of those 20 years? What was the most televised, biggest television audience of those 20 years?
Have they always been on NBC?
No, they moved around. Broadcast. It was
ESPN to start with, right?
Yes. And they moved around. This last Thursday was very high ratings or rankings, but it didn't break the record. The record, any guesses?
I was in probably the first season, 2002, because it was new.
It was
So
it was up there, but it was not high. The
Okay.
record, the answer to the trivia question is 2010, Vikings against the Saints
I
in the
remember that.
Superdome. That was the most watched kickoff game in NFL history in the past 20 years. Everyone watched that Vikings Saints game. And I found that interesting.
Was that the Favre year?
Yeah. Yes.
Because we lost to the Saints in the playoffs, but the Vikings lost to the Saints that year before in the
So
playoffs.
it was the revenge game,
Rematch.
essentially.
Okay.
But that had 27.5 million viewers for that game. One game.
Well, Favre, Bledsoe in prime time. That's great. That's great viewing right there.
Breeze, did you say?
Or what? Yeah, Favre and Breeze. Yeah,
Did you say Bledsoe? Drew Bledsoe?
I think I did. I slipped.
A Drew Bledsoe reference on the sports.
Wow. I did that just for the hashtag when we push the show later. Hashtag Drew Bledsoe.
That's awesome. That's a good thing. All right. On to music.
Yes, what you got?
Album review of the week is Coda by Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin Coda album. Here, I'll bring it up here and share the screen. Now, this one's very interesting. Coda is a compilation album by English rock band Led Zeppelin. The album is a collection of unused tracks from various sessions during Led Zeppelin's 12-year career. It was released in November 1982, almost 2 years after the group officially disbanded following the death of drummer John Bonham. The word coda means a passage that ends a musical piece following the main body, and therefore that was chosen for the title. Now get this. This is the fifth album for Led Zeppelin on Swan Song Records. Now, they had to release it to honor the contractual commitment to Atlantic Records and also to cover the tax demands on previous monies earned. So they were due one more album. The band broke up. The drummer was dead. The band was broken up, but they still needed to get one more album per the contract. And so what they did, it cleared away nearly all of the leftover tracks from the various studio sessions in the 60s and the 70s. The album was a collection of 8 tracks spanning the length of Zeppelin's 12-year history. Atlantic counted this as a studio album, and they were able to release it. You know, this album went platinum.
Wow.
Leftover tracks, and very interesting here. Now we know the band personnel here: John Bonham, drums, even though he was dead. John Paul Jones did the bass work. Robert Plant, lead vocals, and Jimmy Page, acoustic and electric guitars, and also to production. And so check out the songs here on this album. It starts off with We're Gonna Groove. This was actually a live recording January 9th, 1970. And they remixed it with some guitar overdubs and eliminated the live audience sound.
Oh, wow.
It's not a live recording, but it is a live recording. So the song will sound like a studio track, but it's called We're Gonna Groove, recorded live January 1970. The next song, 2, is Poor Tom. Poor Tom was a Led Zeppelin 3 outtake recorded in 1970. Song 3 is I Can't Quit You, Baby. This was a sound rehearsal, edited edition, a rehearsal song. Walter's Walk, song 4, an outtake from The Houses of the Holy, done in 1972, Walter's Walk. Song 5, Ozone Baby, that was an outtake from the album In Through the Outdoor, done in 1970. In Through the Outdoor, 1978. Also, In Through the Outdoor, 1978, the song Darlene. And then Bonzo's Montreux, John Bonham, basically a drum instrumental there. Leads into some other work there on that. That was recorded by John Bonham, 1976. And then an outtake to wrap up the track, also In Through the Outdoor, 1978, the song Wearing and Tearing. Wearing and Tearing. So Coda, they also wanted to release this, Jimmy Page says, because there was basically so much bootleg stuff out there, Jimmy Page says, that people were circulating around and buying and selling. There was no internet. Back, but there was so much bootleg songs out there that they got this out there and it kind of cleaned that up, because these are the kind of the prized possessions of the unreleased songs by Zeppelin. And so they released this, and they kind of used up everything else. Now the album cover was designed by the firm Hypnosis. In fact, this was the 5th time Led Zeppelin used the artwork by Hypnosis. Now it also happens to be another good trivia question here. Hypnosis didn't do any more work. That firm broke up, and this was the last work that they ever did.
Oh, wow.
So they did this album cover. And let's see. I've got 2 things left here.
Yep.
Now, according to Julian Marzalek of The Quietus, this review says Coda has always been regarded as the band's weakest release. Well, that's fair enough. It is.
Yeah.
Need to review and say that. It said here it's made up of 8 tracks that spanned Led Zeppelin's lifetime, and it refused to flow as an album. It was devoid of any coherent narrative. It felt tossed together to make up for the contractual obligations. Well, that too is true. It was together. It doesn't flow. But it's got some good rockers. It's able to cut loose, groove, and have some menacing songs there as well. There's really good song on. Jimmy Page provides a very good solo on I Can't Quit You Baby as well. And then there's a review by Kurt Loder. Remember Kurt Loder from MTV?
Yep. MTV News.
Rolling Stone in 1983. And he hailed this Coda as a resounding farewell and a marvel of compression, deftly tracing the Zeppelin decade with 8 powerful, previously unreleased tracks and no unnecessary elaboration. And so they tossed it together. They didn't do much. They didn't overdo it. It's not like they put together 15 songs. It was just 8 previously unreleased tracks released. It hit number 6 on the U.S. Billboard 200 charts.
Okay.
Sold a million albums.
Okay, but look at this way. Go ahead.
It's for those Zeppelin fans like myself. I like the album. It's not one I'm going to listen to all the time, but it's got some good work on it. Simple 8 songs.
Okay, being a Kiss fan, if all of a sudden you find out, hey, here's a dozen songs we never released. They just been sitting in the studio, but here you go. Yeah, it's not going to tell a story. It's not going to flow, but if you like the band, that'd be a cool album to have.
Correct. I like it.
You hear this now, though, in a way. Okay, they did it after John Bonham passed because that dude contract. But how many other guys? Okay, we've already seen one Prince album come out since he passed away because of stuff in the studio. We've heard other guys do it. So was this kind of ahead of their time for something like that? Zeppelin like, oh, the guy passed, let's release the other stuff we got sitting here. Was there issue, or was there ever a point where they wanted to release that stuff, or was just because Atlantic owned it? They could have released it at any time as an album if they wanted and kept all the money because it was theirs. So that's kind of what happened there too.
It's 33 minutes and 4 seconds. Fairly quick album, half hour. 8 songs. Yep. They did release the box set in 1990. Led Zeppelin released a box set later on.
That was in there.
This was 1982 for contractual obligations, and but very good songs. I like it. what I found interesting, Andy, is the live song in there. They actually removed out the live audience sound, which I found very interesting. It sounds like a studio track. It's actually a live recording.
Which Kiss did with Detroit Rock City.
Yes.
It was recorded live, but they still redubbed stuff over it.
Correct. So that's all I've got for the album review. That's the trivia question. We've covered the sports. Big week ahead. NFL football. Vikings kick off against the Bengals at noon on Sunday. There's a full 9 games scheduled Sunday afternoon. I think there's 3 afternoon games. We're going to get back into the Sunday night football, Monday night football, and playoffs for baseball coming up. Amateur season is done for baseball, so we'll bid.
But I got no problem. Give a shameless plug here. On our Twitter account, Sports and Songs 1 and Town Ball Tuesday, putting together from the local town ball tournaments here, the all hair team.
Yes, we're going to do the all flow team, all hair
flow team.
The reason is one of my favorite things following the high school hockey tournament is the all flow team, the all hair team. People with the best hair, they make a roster and it gets announced on a YouTube quick little video compilation of the best hair, the best flow, the best mane, or the best salad. We're going to try to do the same thing. There are some good ones out there in the all baseball team.
So if you have one, submit it to our Twitter account.
Submit that. We're going to submit those, get a compilation together of the all hair team. And
it'll be kind of fun. If you're watching this from Wisconsin or Texas or Washington, and this guy played town ball there, send his picture if he's got good hair. We'll throw him on there.
We'll try to do it make this an annual event.
Yes. We'll let the teams know ahead of time so if someone wants to grow it out.
Oh, yes. And there's also counts. We're also going to count bald-headed players with full beards.
With a good beard, yes. The Triple H type look he has in wrestling, the big beard and no hair, that type of look.
Exactly. So that's all I've got for today. Anything else in closing, Andy?
No, just like I said, high school sports are kicking underway here. College sports, fall sports are getting going here. It's a very exciting time. Gopher baseball still has some fall games to play, the exhibition games and St. Tommy games. So we will get all that covered and keep you up to date on all that stuff too. Again, if it's like the high school, if there's a small college in the state here you got a family member at or you're at and you want us to mention it, please let us know.
Correct. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
See ya.